And especially this month, we celebrate Ghana Month. So you get to hear stories about Ghana, our traditions, our culture, the people of Ghana. You get to learn something new, definitely. And I did learn something new last week when we had my guest in the studio. So today's a part 2 of the conversation we started last week here on Personality Profile. We took a look into the Ga tradition through the eyes of a very astounding conversationist, great guy. Yeah. The Blafo Wulomei, Numo Blafo Akotia Ometu the third, former PRO of Accra Metropolitan Assembly, currently is the PRO of the Traditional Medicine Practice Council as well, interim president of the Ga-Adangbe Council of Wulomei, and member of the Greater Accra Regional Peace Council. I mean, we actually had a very intriguing conversation getting to know how he started off as a Wulomei, how he got into it, what goes into being one, what makes one, if I can put it that way. Want to look at traditions, spirituality, homo war. In fact, if you missed that conversation, let me share a bit with you. For starters, you probably would ask, who is the Wulomei? Who is a Wulomei in the first place?
A Wulomei is a chief priest.
Chief priest?
Yes. And we Gans are believed to have been led by Wulomei before the inception of chiefs and kings and whatever.
Okay. And I understand that you are like the intermediary between the gods and the people.
Yeah, that's how it is.
So you offer prayers, you communicate with the gods of the land, and deliver their messages to the people as well?
Yes, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But at the shrine itself, as you have the Wulomei, you also have the Wonche.
Woncheme.
If there are many, or Wajihacheme.
What is Woncheme?
The Wonche is the priestess. Or the priest. Because for them, the difference between the Wulomei and the priest, that's the chief priest and the priest, is that they become possessed. They are possessed by the gods. But the Wulomei is never possessed by the gods.
How so?
Yeah, that's how it is.
When you say possessed by the gods, what does it mean?
The God speaks through them.
Okay.
And then the Wulomei will give the information to the people.
Okay. And they're just normal human beings,
they
like
normal
us.
Human beings.
Yeah.
Only when they get possessed, they enter into certain elements unexplainable.
Do these happen in public?
Yes.
They can get possessed in public.
Yes.
What sort of way, elements, and how does it display?
Well, when they get possessed, immediately you realize the person will sometimes, depending on the kind of say gods that is possessing you, or you are his or her Wonche. Some are very quiet, others are very rough. So immediately you get possessed. Those that are quiet, when maybe you are in conversation with people, immediately you become calm, quiet. Then you start to remove your clothes.
I hear some of them walk on light poles, some of them suspend in the air.
Well, I haven't seen anybody suspending in the air before, but I know it happens.
It happens.
Just that I haven't witnessed it.
So that was Numo Blafo talking about being a Wulomei and what goes into it. We also talked about the ban on drumming before the drumming and noise making before the Homo Festival. So before the Homo Festival, you have what you call the Aduma.
That's the ban on drumming and
the ban on drumming and dance. So really, does the noise really distract the gods or what? I want to understand why there's a ban on noise making.
This has been, I would say, a bone of contention between we the traditionalists and especially these Pentecostal churches. I don't know when this thing was instituted, and there's nobody alive today who can tell us that it started in this year or that year. But looking at the processes towards the ban on drumming and noise making, I've deducted that, look, it is all about farming, because Ga before, or the Ga community before, is just fishing and farming community. So imagine that the time we are supposed to go and prepare your farm to plant food, you are somewhere enjoying yourself, and it's a season. When it passes, there's no way you can get it again. Then that year you are not going to have a harvest.
Okay.
And we Ghanaians, we have already suffered hunger before, serious hunger. That is why we even celebrate Numo. So it was, I can say on authority, that the elders instituted it so that at that time, when you are supposed to go to farm, you will go. Because there will be no function in the town. And like going to funerals, going to outdooring and all that, where you go and enjoy yourself and forget the work that you are supposed to do. But not about gods or anything.
So there's no spiritual connotation?
The only place where we place spiritual connotation is when during the ban, we the Wulomei, we have time to pray consistently or constantly. You see, because that's the time when we pray for rains, we pray for good harvest, we pray for, so that we will not even have pestilence in our farms, and those kind of things. We pray against it, and we pray for good things to come.
Take me to Jofore, take me to Jofore.
Now people wanting to challenge the status quo have actually gone into those forests, cut down all the trees, and today we are suffering from rainstorms which hits the communities and then blows roofs, everything. I mean, brings destruction and all. Whereby if those forests have been left alone, it might have protected the community from this destruction. Now, going to fishing or not going to fishing on Tuesdays is, I would say, because of depletion of the fish stock. Because imagine, fishes do have sense. They have brains, excuse the language. They have brains. They come here every day. You come and catch them. They will go. Before they return, they will see that they are diminished. So do you think they will continue to come to the same place every day so that they will finish? They will get finished? No. They will have some brain that they will stop going there, maybe go to another place. But then if they should come today and nothing happens, oh, maybe it was just an accident, tomorrow they will come again. So maybe that's what the elders saw, that look, if we are fishing every day, definitely we need a day to rest. The fishes too will have that day to restock. Okay. Then tomorrow when you go back, you can get more fish.
Well, so these make sense.
Yeah.
The way you put it. But the people, there's some fear that's instilled in the people when they go against it, because there are certain things that if you do it, okay, this will happen to you and whatnot. So were those also just maybe, mere sayings?
What I would say is that, our elders of the past might not have been able to explain it properly. So to cut things short, they have to put some fear.
Yeah.
So that at least people who are adhere to that law. Because, for example, you know that today we have laws. If you go and steal and they catch you, this is what they will take you to court. Later on, you'll be jailed, you'll be punished, and all that. Everything has been set up. But that time, who has that time, that luxury of time to? Though they have the time, but then how they will explain it properly for the youth or the people to understand? They needed to put some kind of spirituality alongside, because we the people actually believe in our deities and our gods. What we have the set of beliefs which you cannot push us away from it. So when things are done or said in relation to our beliefs, it sinks down into people's minds, and then they rather stay clear away from.
So that's to say that there might not necessarily be legitimacy to the spiritual connotations that are attached to these things.
Sometimes when certain things are instituted and you try to break it, the others will find a way of punishing you without you knowing that they are punishing you. You understand? Then when you come to them, they will tell you that because you did this, you did that, that's why you are suffering from this. So, because it becomes part of our belief system, then that fear is there. So even when nothing is happening to you, you will still believe that something is happening to you.
Top of mind, what are some other taboos that are there or that exist in the Ga communities?
For example, in the times when we didn't have so much light, they will say you don't whistle in the night. But then we have to believe it. So even when today a child or someone is whistling and I'm around, I'll tell you, hey, we don't whistle in the night. But if you whistle, I don't know what will happen to you. And sometimes too, what I have also seen, that I saw with my own eyes, for example, people who die accidentally, they don't become ghosts. They become what we call otafo.
And what is that?
Like the living dead. They are not ghosts. They too, they are not human. You understand?
And they manifest how?
They when they are coming, they whistle. They blow a shrill whistle, and you know that this is the person who is coming.
But they don't appear in.
They appear. You see them.
And you have seen some.
I've seen some before. So that's how come I believed that yes, we don't have to whistle in the night.
And how long ago since you saw this?
I was young. I think it was in the 80s. Yeah.
Does it still happen?
For now, because of light everywhere, you don't normally see those things today.
They only manifest in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they might be around in the light, but you just don't see them.
You may not see them, but they might be around. Because, for example, we have certain rituals we perform when there is an accident on the road, like what has happened at Kintampo. They need to go and remove the souls of those people who died on that road. Other than that, that thing will keep on recurring. And it is real.
How do they remove it?
They have rituals they will perform.
Who are they?
I mean, the elders there.
Okay.
They know what to do. And if they should talk to government should sponsor for the removal of the souls. I don't know that maybe last year what happened at that same place, they did those rituals to remove the souls. If they haven't done it, then maybe that's why it has occurred again.
And you think it is the elders of that community who need to do it, or somebody else can?
Nobody from anywhere. They are there. It is their town. It is their village. They know the rituals of their town. They know the deities they have there. And so they know what they are supposed to do. Do
you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yes. Yes, I believe in ghosts.
And it's different from Otofo, right?
It's different from Otofo.
But have you seen a ghost before?
I saw it when I was very young. And I was very small. In fact, it was someone has died, actually, a male. And he has been laid in state. And we're children. We wanted to go and watch the corpse. So the elders sacked us. So I got an idea that I can pass behind the house. There is a window that is behind the house. So I can just go and stand there and watch. Immediately, I got to the back of the house. I saw this. It was a woman dressed in a gown like, how they dress the corpse women. And she was coming, but she was not walking. She was just floating. So I stood there. But immediately she got to the window. The light from the room hit her. I didn't see her again. So I didn't go to the window to watch. I just turned back and went back home. I got sick. There was another time too. That time I would say I was around 17. I went to, that time these Skyhawks, Make Sounds and things they are on. So we went to Apollo Theater and I was going home. There was a whole lot of people. But when we got to Adabraka Roxy, most of the people left. So he left with me alone when I got to Faris School. I don't know whether you know Faris School. Faris School is just opposite the Kentucky School, basic school. Then I saw this gentleman ahead of me. So I was just hurrying to get to him so that we walk together. But in fact, the more I speed up, I cannot catch up with him. The more I speed up, I cannot. So I relaxed. We got to Cocoa Board. So I came to the side of regional police station. That time it was central. And then we have some shop there called Jamfi Brothers. Before I could realize, the gentleman was ahead of me again. I tried to catch up with me. I couldn't. We passed UTC. That time it was Mokola. It wasn't Rollins Park. Then later on, I think that time Mokola has been cleared. So the whole place was an open space. And, we're climbing there's a little hill towards the Wato roundabout. Before we got there, I didn't see him again. That also made me sick. So when I told my grandma, he said, "Oh, you saw a ghost."
But since becoming Wulomei, you've not seen any?
No.
Okay. Kokri says we should stop talking about ghosts because she's driving and she's alone in the car. Kokri, you're safe, don't worry. Okay. I want you to walk us through some of the activities you do when it comes to naming ceremonies. Just before we got into the studio, I saw you having a chit-chat with MFA Pau, who was reciting some of the things you say during naming ceremonies. And last week, I remember in particular, you had an issue with why people give birth and they take the babies to churches.
Yeah. You see, we guys believe that the child, as soon as it is born, becomes the community's property, no more the property of the parent. So we have a saying that Mokome 4, Shije Mokome law, that is one person will give birth, but it's not one person who takes care of that child. So on the 8th day, when the child is to be named, they find somebody with integrity, somebody people looks up to come and lead in that, to come and even perform the naming rites. And you know, when we are about to name a child, there's this prayer that we offer. We call it Jomo, and we say, if I could recite.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Tra omanya blau. Then you say
Yao.
Tra omanya blau.
Yao.
Wasen yati, wablo yati, wabole kutuk wakwe, wajebu wajenu, wayenu, wakojano ajowo, boniba esetu, eyin fan, eyabagboje, eche yura, enye yura, wekuma bi wana fani wakefale, ebachu ni eha weko, ke ne dinye ekake edin, ke ne ye ekake eyen, gahumo bi koyo twa dani oyuo, onako, onuko. Let me just end there and then maybe explain what I've said. When we are talking about Osen Yati, then we are talking about our population should grow. Because when you are sitting alone, it's only one chair. But when you add one chair, it becomes two. Then you are becoming many. Likewise, the blow is also broom. So we say our broom also should be big. Then when we say Wabole Kutuku Wakpe, that is when we come together, we should be able to solve every issue. We should be able to solve every issue. Wajebu wajenu, that is when we dig a hole, we should find water. Because that time, you know, we don't have tap water and all that. We only drink from wells and rivers and lakes and all that. So where you don't have a river or a lake, then you depend on a well. So when you dig a well, you should see water so that you don't labor. In fact, it's just saying that we should not labor for nothing.
Okay.
That is when we drink some, it should be able to satisfy or satiate our taste. Now, when we say Boni Ba Echayura, then we refer to the child as a visitor. So we say Bo Niba, because that time they've not given him or her a name. So we say Bo. So a visitor who has come. The mothers, we pray for the life of the mother, pray for the life of the father. Onako, that is, if you see, you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Onuko, if you hear, you haven't heard. Gahumo be a koyo tra, that is, a grandchild should be asked before he or she will speak. Not that anything you see, then you begin to speak when you have not even been asked about it. Now we say that wekuma bi wana fani wokefale. It simply is that, look, as we have that word that mokume for shije mokume law, the child becomes the property of the community. So everybody should be able to take care of the child when the child is in need. Now, that is when he also grows, he or she grows, when he works, he should also be able to, he should be generous, actually. Because you've been fed by the community, so you also have to be generous to the community.
Now, all these positive things are said about the child. Likewise in the church. But you believe that it's not a good thing for people to take their children to the church to be named.
Yes. Because the child is coming from a home. And so whatever it is, it must be initiated in the home before, if you want to go to church to go and do anything, then you go there and do it. Because, for example, I was named in the house, before some time later, I was taken to the church to be baptized. You understand? And it is normal. But imagine the first thing the child will, or the first hand that will bless the child, that hand itself is contaminated. What happens?
How do you know it's contaminated?
Yes, because you see, I wouldn't say all churches or all pastors or all prophets or whatever, but we know a lot of them. We know their beginnings. We know where they are coming from. You understand? So if somebody like that should initiate your child into the world, that child is coming to take the character of that person. Because you see, why we look for someone with integrity to perform that naming rights for the child to lead is because we believe that the child will emulate that person. That is our belief. We girls have our set of beliefs. We believe that whoever initiates the child or leads in the naming rights of the child ends up emulating that person, because at the end of the ceremony, you will see the person will hit the child with the foot. Back on nanny, come and take my foot, literally. That is, come and be like me, or come and emulate me. You understand? So if that person is a bad character, no family member will allow that person to lead in that process.
Regardless of what their beginnings are, we assume that pastors, as they are at the moment, are good people.
But you see, who knows what they do behind?
Isn't it the same for the elders?
By that time, we live in a community, so you see, and even now we live in communities, though we are scattered, but people know people. You understand? People know people, and therefore, if you have any bad character, you can hide it, but people will know.
Yeah.
So we don't take chances.
When a Wulomei gives birth, is their naming ceremony different?
No, the same.
It's the same.
The same.
And it's done on the 7th day?
The 8th day.
The 8th day.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know why, but that is what has been instituted, and that's what has become part of our beliefs.
There's a specific drink that is shared at naming ceremonies.
Oh yes, but it's not that specific. But we have the corn wine, which we call meda. It should be part of the naming ceremony.
Why?
Because we try to let the child know that, look, we guys, we eat corn. You understand?
Yeah.
So how do we get the corn? We farm. Because during that time, as I said last week, our communities were either farming or fishing communities. So maize is what we use as our staple. In fact, maize is our staple food. So we try to let the child know that, yes, we eat maize. But to eat the maize, you have to work for it before you can enjoy it. So we eat maize, we drink maize, and all that.
Let's talk about the special
and
rights.
Then there's this, we also use strong drink, because we tell the child the difference between the maize drink or the corn wine and then the hard liquor.
Okay.
To tell you that when you see white, you say white. When you see black, you say it's black. You don't see white and turn around and say it's black.
Why is there a special right done for a woman who gives birth to 10?
To
10.
10.
Yeah, 10 children.
That is the Numo. You see, I don't know the reason behind it.
Okay.
But I believe giving birth to 10 children is not that easy. It's not that easy. So it's something like the husband is appreciating you for giving him that number of children. Because you see, when we were only farming and maybe going to fishing, you need a lot of children so that you can have a big farm, or even to your canoe, you have people who will manage it for you. So when you have a woman who has given you 10 children, you need to appreciate that woman. So a right is performed for that woman who has given birth to 10 children. That is the Numo. But if you give birth to 9 children, you don't give you didn't get to the 10, you don't get it.
Okay. Let's talk about marriages. How are they conducted?
Before marriages, for example, we have what we call the rite of passage for women in our Ga community. In fact, it's not all the, I would say, the clans who perform it, but then we have one clan from mine here, and their daughters, they perform what we call Ochenche. They perform it for them, and it is done in the belief that if you have not done that, then you have not reached womanhood. Therefore, you are not supposed
to get married,
not even to double in boyfriend, girlfriend. And that time, these vices we are experiencing now is not there. Likewise, the Krobos, they also do depot and all that. And we had a vibrant community where a lady can tell you, when a lady says, just literally to say, have you seen my thighs before? Because you will not see. But today everything is outside, so no woman can tell a man, ask a man whether you've seen their thighs before. Even the breast is outside for people to see.
How do you think the gods feel about that?
I don't know their minds, but we the people, you see, they say the voice of the people is the voice of God. If the people are not happy with something, then the gods will also not be happy.
The people are not happy about it?
Of course. Do you think we are happy with what we see in our communities? The elders, we are not happy. But you will call a child and want to straighten that child, the parents will come out at you. You understand? And so it's like nobody is talking about anybody's child again. Everybody is minding his or her own business. And that is what has led us to where we are today.
Do you think white weddings are important?
I don't think so. I think it's just a thing of fashion. Because, weddings are contracted today, tomorrow divorce and all that. But before, when I was, at least you see my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather were old, but they were married. They were still together. So, sometimes I sit and ask myself that what is the difference? What makes, wedding difference in the marriage? Does it? Because sometimes I can't understand.
But
we have our traditional way of contracting marriage, which we normally called gawo or engagement. Before, the old people call, if you are engaged or you are properly married, they call you boikpawu you. Boikpawu you. Because in the things that the man is supposed to give to the woman, I don't know how to call boy in English, but in Chi, I think they call it a monsin or something of that sort.
Okay, on the
which they use, yes. They have to be 7 pieces of clothes, that is the monsin or the boy, among the things. So when they marry you properly, they call you boy pawu, you see, and they live forever until death do them part. But wedding became a fashion of the elites, and we are also continuing it. But tomorrow we go and do all this wedding popping today, and then tomorrow divorce.
But the traditional marriages didn't guarantee longer marriage. The people still got divorced.
Well, but the majority that I saw.
You have been divorced.
Yes.
But you did traditional marriage.
I didn't.
You didn't?
But I did part of it, but I didn't complete it.
Why?
Yes, it's a process. And sometimes, there are certain things you look, and currently in our situation, because imagine you are living in somebody's house and you want to go and spend all that money on a woman. Won't you want to get your own house? So that at least when you are living in your own house and then you do all those things, you are safe.
So
you have your peace of mind.
That's why you didn't complete your...
That is my belief, actually.
Okay.
My view of marriage.
Okay.
Weddings and all those kind of things. I don't know about somebody.
Yeah.
But I feel that I cannot be renting somebody's house or living in somebody's house and then spending all that money, which would maybe you could have bought a land and maybe even build a single room on it. Spend it just on the woman. One day you have children, kids who are also going to school. Tomorrow you'll be suffering about school fees and all that kind of things. I feel that, look, you need to prepare, because you see what's on our area, to plenty, plenty.
Do you sometimes fear that all these practices, cultural practices, and the things that you stand for and the Ga people stand for are becoming extinct?
Yeah, some of them, especially like the rites of passage, like this Buipa thing that I was talking about, because most of the ladies now want to, the church, something they want to go and do, where you see, those are the things. And then also we're looking down so much on our tradition due to I would say the other religions that have come to stay with us, because they've made us to know that whatever we are doing is evil, fetish, and all those kind of things. So when even the naming of the child, which doesn't have any spiritual connotation to it, which doesn't call on any deity or anything, they want to go to church. Everything pastor, everything prophet. That is our problem.
Why are there lots of chieftaincy disputes?
Well, I've been saying everything pastor, everything church, but Muslims too are there. So they are all part of our problem. The chieftaincy
you call them a problem?
Yes, they are a problem. You see,
Muslims and Christians?
Yes, all the other religions that we have accepted into our communities, they have created the problems for us, because without them we were living quietly in our normal lives, believing our own beliefs and moving on smoothly. But since the advent and this lot of religious sects, they've brought a lot of problems onto us. But then, as you said, chieftaincy issues have been with us, but not so prominent as they are today. But they've been occurring. Not today. Maybe in the past, because the media wasn't so vibrant, so we don't normally hear of them. And they do not also escalate to the levels that we are seeing today, where you have what we call landguards coming in, people importing people from other places to come and fight. I think, no, it wasn't like that before.
So what is causing it?
Well, to me, most of the time I just place these things on greed. Greed is greediness that is causing it, because how can I work the whole of my life, then when I retire I want to become a chief at all costs? Why wouldn't I go and enjoy my pension quietly with my children and grandchildren? But I want to get a chieftaincy title at all costs, whereby I'm being told that, maybe it's not our turn. I'm forcing it because I say I'm also a royal. But before, even to get a chief, it was a big problem. Because of that, people send their children abroad. So there are a lot of people I know who, due to this problem, were sent outside. They've never returned, even with their children. Some people come and they don't even know their houses again. You see? But today, people will go into this cold, suffer, struggle for money, and then when they get it, they want to come and become chiefs. And sometimes I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'd have loved for us to talk more about that, but let's move on and talk about festivals. Some of the festivals that you have
in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the major festival is the Numo. That's the major festival. We have the Twins Festival too. And
what's that one?
The Twins Festival is a festival that celebrates twins, and it is normally done the day before the Numo.
Actually, interestingly, somebody sent a message and said, ask him the importance of the twins' rights.
Yeah.
Why is it so important?
Twins were believed to be God sent, because humans are believed to give birth to one child at a time. So if you give birth to two, the children are held in high esteem. They are believed to be God sent. So, in fact, they are treated specially different from other children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have what we call kujin. It's done for them, which every year they will bring them out, pat them, dress them up as they will dress the kids. Sometimes they call their spirits or their souls. They will choose what they want to eat. If they want a ram for that year, then you have to get it for them. They can say, oh, maybe dad or mom, just give us some chicken. We'll be okay with it. You know, we see them as a blessing to the family. So we treat them specially. We treat them very special.
Okay.
Yeah.
In all our conversation, I pick up a bit of bitterness about how maybe the traditions are not really upheld and revered like back in the day. From you, you're not happy about it. But in all of this, what makes you a proud Ga?
You know, I'm a Ga and I cannot change my identity. And something that gives me hope is that you see, people who say they are Christians, they are Muslims, they are this, but when it comes to certain rights in their house or in their family, they don't joke with it. So it gives me hope that however people have converted to other religions, they still, they still believe in their cultural beliefs or the traditional beliefs. For example, people who are even fighting for chieftaincy to be chiefs and all that will say they are Christians. They will say they are Muslims. Yet they want to sit on a stool. And you know that the stool is a deity on its own. So how can you serve two masters? Do you see? You go to church, and then and everything that is performed for the stool, you, the chief, you have to be there. You will be part of it. So how can you live in two worlds, one person? That's what sometimes gives me hope that what some people are doing, they don't just know what they are doing. Maybe they are following it for prestige or for some kind of recognition, or that's why I even base it on greed. Because if not for greed, why? Because you have your money, you have everything. What again do you want? Why wouldn't you rather help the person who is supposed to be? Even if that person is illiterate and you are literate, you can still assist the person along that line, so that at least it will keep your family things together. But you come rather fight and scatter everything. Then people who are not even your family member will rather be enjoying what your family should be coming to your family. See, if it is not for greed, then what again?
Numo Blafo.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this has been another revealing conversation. There's a question that I'm begging to ask.
Yes,
I don't want to ask it, but I would ask it.
Okay.
You're I can put it a traditional leader, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to assume you are perfect.
That is it. I'm not perfect. I said it the other day that I'm not perfect.
What's your weakness?
Weakness. How can I know? I might fall for something which I haven't thought of.
Okay.
Yes. So I wouldn't say maybe But as a human being, definitely, I don't ascribe myself as someone who is above everything. No.
Okay.
I'm as human as you, normal human being as you are. In fact, when I went to AIJC, now AUCC, at the beginning people thought maybe I was something. At the end they realized that, no, I'm just like them. No.
Yeah.
We do things together. When it comes to going outings, I mean, everything. What we want me to say? Maybe I just can't say it on there. But
I know.
Yeah. I do things that every normal human being does.
Charlie. Yeah, Mano Hami, I shouldn't have asked this question.
But I've answered you, or you are not.
No,
okay,
I'm fine. We'll continue off air.
By all means.
Numo, thank you so much.
You're
Great
welcome.
spending time with you. Numo Blafo Akotia Omai to the third. Blafo Wulomei. Former PR of Accra Metropolitan Assembly. He's currently the PR of the Traditional Medicine Practice Council, interim president of the Ga-Adangbe Council of Wulomei, and member of the Greater Accra Regional Peace Council. I'm Lexusville. Thanks a lot for spending time with us. God willing, next week we have another interesting edition of Personality Profile. Thanks to my team, Madam Naite, Philip Naya, Beku Sankofisa, and Ofori, Anita and Mirabel. Ernest Kojo Menu is here with the latest.